I feel that yesterday's games went a bit too easy for us. I felt that the games like versus EG and Fnatic were going to be much harder, but we had really good drafts and we played very well. So, but then versus Empire, I think they are the hardest team out there right now for us. They even won a game against us, but they played generally like very well during the series. And then versus Cloud9. We weren't really sure what they were doing. It felt like they had a plan, but nothing never happened. So I just think that we play good against them compared to other teams. Because if you look at Cloud9 playing the other teams in the tournament, they play very, very well. And then they play us and they tend to play a bit worse. So I think we're just good against Cloud9 if you, compared to other teams.
Yesterday we... was it really yesterday? Wasn't it 2 days ago?
It was yesterday. Oh, what, the silencer? Maybe it was 2
days
ago.
2 days ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, 2 days ago we played against EG and we went for quite a standard draft for a few first heroes to just open up the draft a bit and not show too much. Then EG went for the Tinker pickup, and I mean, we played the carry silencer a lot before, or a few times we tried it out, but this time EGM actually suggested it. And the hilarious thing was, right before we went here, I played silencer carry in a pub against Ake and S4, which I was kind of dominating at first, but then I lost because we were against S4 was SF, and then they had a Luna. And when you're playing silencer carry against agility carries, it's very annoying because both heroes can go BKB Manta and pretty much go for items that they usually will go for and still counter your hero. You can cancel both the ultis if you go for Aga Refresher, for example. So the reason why the hero worked really well this time is because they had a Tinker carry who had to go for BKB Manta. And sure, it's decent, but it's not really the way you want to play Tinker, and they were really pressured by that, so it worked out really well. And I mean, we played it before and I like the heroes. I don't say no if my team suggests a hero. But that first game was really important for us, made us really happy to beat EG. They were a bit cocky before the game as well, so we didn't show any mercy. But in the game after that we played against Empire and Fnatic first, Fnatic first. Games against Fnatic felt quite stable, we felt confident against them, and sure, we didn't really let them have the Tinker, which they are maybe one of the best teams with. Same time, it didn't really feel like they had any real control of those games. We laned it quite well and we kinda knew where we had them the whole game. And I think that we all played really, what do you say, like we didn't really overextend, and we played really, made smart choices and listened to each other and just played the right way. Then we, in a matchup against Empire, it was probably the first tough game. And we were quite sad after our loss against them, which was due to what kind of lineup we picked. One or two of those heroes could have been switched out for a better lineup. I think I could have changed my item build as well. I mean, usually I always go for a Midas on Wraith King, but we already had 2 Midases and the team didn't really want me to go for a third Midas. And I mean, I don't really want to go for a third Midas when they're already pushing us and everything. Then I went for the Blade Mail, but right after I bought it I was like, this wasn't a really good choice. But other than that, we didn't really have any great initiation, so I think that I would have had to go for a dagger, maybe even as a first item, just to have some way of dealing with their push and have someone who can just go in and be the martyr and get a good fight off. But in the third game we just felt that, in the third game we kinda tricked them, I would say, with how we drafted. I mean, I think that we drafted really strong team fights with the first few heroes, and I think that they were worried that either we would go for a super late game hero, or we would go for I think that's what they were worried the most about, and that's why they picked Morphling as well. I'm not really sure if I think that Morphling and Storm on the same team is a really good combo, but yeah, we went for Pugna as the last pick, and it's a really awesome last pick. If people are not ready for it, and then we just pushed them. I don't think they had a very easy time that game. And then of course we played against Cloud9, and I think that, I mean, we're always very confident playing against Cloud9, but at the same time we have seen them use the Meepo, and we were a bit curious to how it would be for ourselves to play against it, because you can watch teams play and you can't really get a good feeling for what went wrong for them and why is this working out so well. And against Cloud9, like the first game, we drafted a Panda quite early, and I think that's why they drafted the Meepo, because we have never used Panda on anyone else, so they were quite sure that there would be a Panda mid against Meepo, and Meepo is actually quite good against Panda in the way that if you just get a couple of nets off, let's say the Panda is level 6 even, and there comes a second hero to gank as well, the Panda will usually be forced to use his splitter, his ult. And that's why we switched it around a bit. We picked up the Storm and switched the lanes. And yeah, I mean, I haven't played Panda non-official ever, but I don't even know if we scrimmed with it when I played it, but yeah, sometimes you just have to tank it. I think it's worth it in a lot of games where you just surprise your enemies and they can't really deal with the lineup you have or the way you play it. I'm not sure. And as I heard EGM say before, like, we thought that they had this great plan, pre-made strat with Meepo, but I mean, when we looked at it, it was like they had a one core Meepo carry with a couple of huge long cooldown ultimates. So I mean, they got a gank off on me quite early, but then they used Black Hole and Ravage, and after that they don't really have a lot more, so they can't even go for towers when I was out. I think that we made a failed Wisp TP gang as well and I think that was the first Enigma Black Hole even. I'm not really sure. But same thing there, then they used the Enigma Black Hole, and then we know that, okay, we don't have to worry about this ulti, they have to be a bit afraid, so I think we handled that game quite well, just adapting to the picks and what they picked. Then for the last game I think that they were a bit sad, maybe they were a bit demoralized and everything, because from what I heard, I think that their coach, Clairvoyance, said that Meepo was like the most OP hero in the game, and yeah, that's what we were waiting to see, but it didn't happen. So last game just went better than I could ever expect. Everyone just played extremely well. Our movement was super clutch, and yeah, they overextended, so after the early game you could see quite early in what direction it was going.
Day at Alliance is usually I wake up, have breakfast, play some pubs, then at around 2-3 Aki and Lola comes to the house and we start screaming until maybe like 11 or 12 at night, and after that just go to bed and repeat.
I mean, for me it varies a bit because I stay in the house like 50% maybe. So either I wake up at like 11, 12. Usually I try to sleep longer than that, but Bulldog is creating chaos and havoc in the apartment, and then EGM starts being the same, and then I wake up and I stomp into the room and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, can you all shut the fuck up? No, not really. I've gotten used to it by now. But yeah, then we just play maybe 1-2 pubs, for me at least, then we start warming up, either with scrims or maybe some one-on-ones. Well, we try to play one-on-ones as much as possible, but sometimes it doesn't happen. But yeah, then we just play until 6, and then we have lunch between 6 and 7. But I mean, of course, it varies a bit depending on when we finish scrims. If we finish a bit early, or if we get a good scrim, we will of course eat a bit later. And then we keep playing after that until usually 11, and also longer than that if we actually get good practice. And yeah, then I usually either go home or I stay up and play a couple of pubs. I'm usually the one who stays up by myself. Everyone goes to sleep. I don't know what's happening to the world where gamers go to sleep at 11 and wake up at 8, 9 in the morning. I don't think it's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. But that's how it is.
If it is like that, it is like that. 11?
Yeah, sometimes.
Ooh.
I mean, in the beginning it was like that. Bulldog, even EGM, S4, in like the first few days. Yes,
No.
in the beginning, like after China, you guys.
12.
Well, yeah, 12 is the normal one, but at around 12 they usually disappear. Yeah, I know. For me, it's like I was considering if I should scold my team. It's like, you're going to sleep too early, too damn early.
Last TI went kind of good for us, so it's hard to say that it's not gonna get harder. But if you look at last year, we had a really good run throughout the whole year, and we had really stable picks, and we felt that we really knew what we should play and what we should pick. So of course this TI will be a lot harder, and also a lot of the other teams have shapen up. Like DK is looking really good, and IG is awesomely good as well, and EG, even though they didn't perform so well now, they just won the summit. So EG will probably one of the top contenders there as well, and and then there's Empire and Fnatic, and I mean there's a lot of teams that you can say that they might win. If you compare it to last year, where you could look at maybe 4 teams and say, okay, these four teams will, like, they might win, but this TI will be a lot harder. About how Navi has been performing, I mean, if you look at the past year, like coming into every tournament, you can look at them and you can think that they might be not that they might not be so strong, but then they come into the tournament and they still come into the top 2 or even win the tournament. But now it seems like maybe their past picks and their past performance, because maybe they didn't practice so much, so they are a bit behind now, because now if you look at the summit, they didn't perform so well, but still it's only one tour, and you always look at Navi and you are really afraid of them, because they always can shape up during a tournament. Even they did during TI2 and TI3. Like at TI2 they looked very weak during the group stage, and then they still dominated throughout the brackets after, and even at TI3. So you can never count out Navi, even though they might not look strong.
I mean, it's Navi. I think they can do anything at TI. I mean, they've been there in the finals 3 times. I mean, I would never count them out. Maybe they're in a slump now, but yeah, anything can happen. It's 1 month left.
I mean, sure, I think that the most obvious ones will be like Batrider. Batrider will always be, yeah, for me it's a awesome hero. The hero is just so strong. I mean, it's not that he's so strong in laning phase always, but it's more about what kind of impact he can have in the mid game, in the late game. I mean, you're turtling, you're defending base, and you have Batrider on your team, and they overextend once, and you just grab one of them, pull them into base, kill them, they have to back off. Stick in the palm is a really great ability, and yeah, I think Batrider will for sure be there. At the same time, I myself would like to play a bit more against it. I think that there are ways to play against every hero, and I think that a lot of teams get scared by what seems to work for other teams if you lose against it enough times. I think that Doombringer will for sure be a topic. The hero is quite silly sometimes. I mean, it's just the way he, it's just the way he works. The Doom Ultimate is quite a stupid spell sometimes. As a carry, it's very sad to play against that, especially if you ever have a 1 core against a Doom who will just doom you every fight. it makes it a lot hard. But especially it's about the farming. He's a tanky hero, but he can also like blitz farm like crazy. He gets like tranquil boots, Midas, and then slowly by if he gets tranquil boots by Midas by like even if he gets it by 13-14 minutes at 25-30 minutes, Doom is usually the top net worth. Like that's just how the hero works. Other than that, Lycan sure is one of those heroes, but then again I've seen a lot of teams play really well against it, so we'll just have to wait and see. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chinese will go for a lot of really late game, like one core. I wouldn't be surprised to see Anti-Mage being picked up by a few of them, especially in like the ways that I've seen Vichy done it. They pick like Quaswex Invoker, Anti-Mage, and then maybe even one more mana burn hero, and then they will go for like team fights where they just remove the mana from one hero. And the AoE of the Anti-Mage ult is really, really big now, so you can be surprised by how strong it is early game as well. Yeah, other than that, we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. I think that's... I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if teams ban Furion against us, so... it will probably depend from team to team and what kind of style you're confident with. I think Panda is a very strong hero in the right kind of lineups as well.
Okay. The Weaver?
Oh yeah, Weaver. I think Weaver will work for sure. No, but for sure I've seen a team like LGD, for example, use Weaver a lot, and it seems to work out for them. The Chinese seem to like it a bit more. I mean, Mouse uses Weaver. I think right now everything works. Honestly, everything works. It's just about how you use it. Sure, there are some heroes that may be stronger than others, but Weaver will be picked in TI, I'm quite certain.
I don't think there's any broken heroes. I think there are annoying heroes. Doom is annoying because Doom's one target and you can't do anything. It's just, yeah, it's just fucking annoying. I don't think anything is broken.
I think there aren't really any hero that is too good, but there are heroes that are for sure better than other heroes because they're getting banned and picked every game. So it might be it should maybe be a slight change to them, but at the same time, some teams seems to be able to counter Lycan very well, while other teams don't. So even though Lycan is banned and picked almost every game, then there are some teams that actually can beat Lycan every game. So you should, I think teams should look at the teams that beat him and try to do the same, and they will be able to play against it. I think Tekis is a fun hero, but it's not gonna be fun when you play a pub and you see a Tekis run and suicide on you. But at the same time, it's a hero that was fun when I played Dota 1, and it was fun to always have him there because it just adds a fun part to the game. But at the same time, to have him in competitive, I'm not so sure yet, but it will for sure be fun to have it in the game.
I don't really care about Tekis. I guess it's fun to play in pubs. Won't have any major impact on the competitive scene.
Shadowstar sponsors
XMG,
HyperX,
Monster,
PlanetSide 2,
Axe,
and our new sponsor Logitech, which has awesome gear.